Ladies and gentlemen, I am so glad to see you all. My name is Anna Fedorova, and I am CEO at Network Silicon Valley Club. We are starting up our unicorn battle for the US startups. And what a fantastic event we are having today. Startups we selected out of a huge number of contestants are pitching live, and great investors within reach. You are at Unicorn Battle for US startups. You cannot miss it. Welcome, everyone. And I would like to use this opportunity to welcome you at our Network Silicon Valley Club. There is a syndicate for accredited investors where best deals are made. And it's my pleasure to give a floor to a special person to all of us. Please welcome the founder of Network Silicon Valley Club, our wonderful Maxim Strelchenko. Maxim?
Thank you. Thank you, Anna. So my name is Maxim, and I'm a partner at Network VC and angel investor based in Menlo Park in Silicon Valley. I'm glad to see you all here today. We approach the end of the year and understand how valuable your time is. I would like to thank you all, our guests and experts. I see many of my fellow alumni from Stanford and Berkeley. And I also want to extend my greetings to all the companies pre-selected today. Good luck with your pitches. At Network Silicon Valley Club, we are dedicated to building connections to eliminate opportunities. Let's make it happen.
Let's do it, Maxim. So glad to see everyone. And as you know, we are doing a series of pitch events. Some of them we already have done. And we explored multiple industries: biotech, health tech, blockchain, gaming, and we have 2 more events to go. Today's event for the deep tech startups and event dedicated especially for women startups. So please refer startups to us. Startups, they can either pitch at our events where they meet VCs and private investors directly, or if our selection committee, after additional screening, finds they match criteria of our investment strategy, we found those startups at the syndicate fund and invite you to join us. So Diana here, our event manager, or me, please refer startups to us, and we will be very happy to help those talented people to make the world a better place. Our next event will be on the December 10th. Mark the date in your calendar. It will be a special event dedicated to women in venture industry. As I mentioned, no discrimination, of course. Men are always welcome, but only as judges. Pitches will be done by women founders only. Ping us if you would like a personal invite, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in less than a month. And now, we are here today for SpaceTech, Robotics, AI, SaaS, DefenseTech, and FinTech event brought to you by Network Silicon Valley Club. Our great judges will be evaluating each startup's investment potential, and at the end, we'll have a winner announced. And it's time to give thanks to our sponsors. Our platinum sponsor is Network VC, the management company of our ecosystem. Our golden sponsor is Network Silicon Valley Club, where great deals for accredited investors are made. And our silver sponsor, Startup Inc., an investment onboarding and management platform to get an access to exclusive deals worldwide. We at Network Silicon Valley Club use Startup Inc. to facilitate our investors' digital journey. Thank you so much, dear sponsors, for your continued support. And now, please welcome our judges. It's so great to see you all. Familiar faces, new friends. I hope you'll stick to our network. We are having great time all together, great investments, great discussions, and helping each other out in this venture world. We have today private investors, representatives of VC funds, corporate investors, and each category will be voting separately, but the votes will be aggregated. So please look up at your profile at our event and vote for the startups that will be pitching. But before this, our pitch session starts, dear judges, please introduce yourself shortly for 1 minute, pointing out what industry you invest in, what's your check size, what's your focus stage-wise. It will be great to hear you all. And I see already hands raised up. Yes, please use this button, raise your hand, and I'll give you a floor. Mariette, so nice to see you. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to hear all these pitches. And my background is as an exited tech founder. And I've also been an investor for the last 12 years in many of these categories that we have today, with a check size ranging as small as 10,000 up to $1 million. And I'm also working now with a lot of companies in the longevity space in addition. So I'm looking forward to hearing what we have today. Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have you. Welcome. John, hello.
Hey, fantastic to be here. Just want to let everybody know I'm going to reach out to all of you. I'm going on vacation tomorrow, so I won't reach out until after I get back. It is going to be a digital dump for my vacation, which I badly need. We are a digital agency. We typically provide sweat equity for startups. We usually pick 2 or 3 per year. We are agnostic as far as what type of startup they are. We usually like to get involved in a seed stage. We are a zero risk custom software engineering team. Our staff is all senior level. We're staffed with software engineers, AI engineers, UI, UX designers, digital strategists, and marketers that have been working with startups for over 15 years. We do all this while working lean to make your startup successful. So feel free to contact me. I'll put my LinkedIn, or I have put my LinkedIn in the chat box.
Thank you, John, and welcome to our event. Kelly, hi, always nice to see you.
Hi, Anna. Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly Lo, founder and investor at Mans International in Toronto, Canada. It's great to be here. Thank you, Anna, Maxime, Diana, for having me. I'm currently in Shanghai on a business trip, and it's 2 a.m. local time. Over the past 18 years, I have had the privilege of working with tech entrepreneurs and investors from over 50 countries. Our average check size is up to $1 million. And our focus has been helping deep tech companies explore B2B opportunities in both North America and East Asia. I'm looking forward to an exciting competition and wish all the participants the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. Welcome. Thomas, you're next.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. Thomas Miller here. I'm a private investor, built several companies, sold a few. So my specialty is FinTech, so I love SaaS or any FinTech company. I have expertise also in telecommunication. My check size as a private investor from 25 to 100K. What I love about startup, or what I would like to see, is a clear vision to profitability and strong product. That's what I love. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. And Chandan, hello.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Chandan, based in Bangalore, India. My background is in building enterprise software products at startups as well as Fortune 500. These days, I'm an early stage investor and startup advisor. At PyCube Ventures, we participate in early stage funding between 100K to $1 million. And it's mostly been deep tech in the recent days. I look forward to the amazing pitches lined up today. Very excited to see all the decks, the content they have.
We are too. Welcome, Chandan. Vic, hello again.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet everyone here from sunny Bay Area. I'm an engineer turned founder turned investor, so I feel the pain of a lot of founders. I primarily focus on enterprise AI, which seeps into a very hot space. And our check size is about 1 to 2 million. We have about 15 companies in portfolio. And we are very actively hands-on involved with our with our what we call them. Our customers are really our startups for the first 6 months. Make sure you're on the right track, and then we get out of the way. So we bring both capital and a lot of experience to you.
Great to hear that, Vic. Welcome to our event.
Thank you.
Walid, hello.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Anna. I'm glad to see you again and see many familiar faces. My name is Walid Al-Bashir. I'm the general partner of Intuitive Ventures. I have been in technology for around 28 years. I've launched several startups over the last 15 years, got a couple of exits. And right now we're supporting founders at early stage through a couple of firms in US, Estonia, East Africa, and GCC. We support right from day zero, and we provide market access with a lot of perks down the line. Looking forward to see some good innovations today, and looking forward a fruitful discussion.
Yes, we will have that. Welcome, Walid. Oleg, hello.
Hello, everybody. I'm Oleg Baranov from Cyprus. I'm CEO of a software development company. My experience in software development for financial industry, mainly for banks, is 30 years. Besides that, I acted as a chartered director in a bank for 15 years. My company focused in software development for financial industry, mainly in the domain of AI. And I am a private investor. I'm investing in startups as LP in several VC funds and independently as well. My average check from 200 to 1 million. So looking forward to see interesting opportunities today.
Yes, we have those. Welcome, Oleg. And Sarah, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so I am Sarah Praja, CEO of Praja Ventures. Sorry for my throat because I have got the throat infection. And we basically focus on the future tech, AI, startups, and robotics. And we and our funds and our mentors help startups for their strategic development and growth. So I will be not asking more questions today, but I will be writing it over the chat. So startups, please have an eye over there, okay?
Yeah, that's a good strategy, Sarah. Welcome. And Mikhail, hello.
Hi all, this is Mikhail from Georgia. I'm based in Tbilisi, Georgia, and we invest in startups which are mostly seed and Series A stage. We are pretty much sector and geography agnostic. We have startups all over the world, and we invest in pretty much everything related to technology. I've done lots of corporate and in investment banking for the last 13 years. And then I have joined VC world for the last 3 years. So I'm happy to be listening to these pitches, and hopefully we can cooperate in future as well.
Welcome, Mikhail. And Miguel, hello.
Anna, it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks to Maxine as well. Proudly born and raised in Colombia, South America. I lead my own investment banking boutique, who's been very active raising funds in emerging markets. Recently, during the last 12 months, we've been able to raise $50 million in equity for our clients. I'm also an investor. I'm also a board member in corporations that are publicly listed here in Colombia and in the US. And last but not least, I'm a shark in Shark Tank Colombia.
Great to see you, Miguel. And Jordan, what a treat. Hello.
Why is it a treat? I'm always here.
I haven't seen you for a long time at our events.
I heard Tom and Millar is on and Marianne is on, and they're the two biggest troublemakers in the whole galaxy. I had to be here just to offset their troublemaking. I am Jordan. Jordan Wabe with Silicon Valley Venture Group, also partner with Network VC. Thank you all for being here. We do pre-A and A, post-revenue, $150,000 to $500,000 checks, enterprise class, B2B companies. Just came back from the GCC, Saudi Arabia and the like, and we are opening engagements in there. If you'd like to talk to me about what that means to you as an investor or as a company, please reach out. That region is growing like you would not believe. And if you are a smart person, and most of you are, some of you are very smart, this is the time to engage in there. Anna, always good looking. Love to see you on screen.
Thank you, Jordan. Likewise. Welcome. James, hello.
Hi, Ian. As before, I'm joining tonight from Germany. It's 7 o'clock over here, so not as late as some of the others, but definitely different time zone. So I've met and worked with a lot of the other folks in the call through the Berkeley network, where I was in VC. In a VC cohort with them recently. So greetings to those folks again. My background is in cybersecurity, data, AI integrations into businesses of all sizes across all industry sectors. So I'm working now with startups from seed to Series A and B that I'm working with on advising, and then working also with VCs to help vet companies. So looking forward to seeing what comes tonight.
Welcome. And Todd, hello.
Great. Honored to be here. Greetings from Philadelphia. I'm Todd Wallach. I am an investor, an executive, and an entrepreneur, and I currently run 2 life science companies and involved in multiple space ventures. My experience runs from earliest stages through exits, and I've launched spacecraft and rockets from low Earth orbit all the way to Mars. I currently also am venture partner at Res Capital, and we do early stage investments. We can lead or follow, probably investments up to around $1 million, as well as I'm also an individual angel investor that invests probably in the range of up from 0 all the way to probably $200,000.
Wonderful. Welcome to our event. John, hello.
Is it me?
Yes, absolutely. You are the one and only.
Okay, thank you. Because you didn't call me Crazy John, so I didn't recognize. So my name is Crazy John, John Kojo Morioka from Tokyo, Japan, and it's 3 a.m. here, and I don't think I'm going to sleep tonight. And now we have so many friends from Silicon Valley coming to Japan. I'm an advisor of a few different venture capitals. One is called CVVC in Switzerland and Africa. We invest in blockchain and Web3. And B Health Ventures, it's a Taiwanese-based medtech and medical AI startups we invest. And Mendoza Ventures, we invest in Boston and some Bay Area. We invest in cybersecurity AI FinTech. And Arca Venture Labs, we are Silicon Valley fund investing in India, mainly deep tech. So best luck all of you today, and please keep me awake. Thank you.
We will do our best, John.
Okay.
Jim, hello. I hope you will be here for the space section.
How could I miss it? Great to be back with you guys. Jim Thomas here from JPT Ventures, calling in from Florida's Space Coast, looking out literally at Cape Canaveral from where I sit here. Love all things around space tech. We always say if we can't develop these technologies on Earth, how are we ever we can't develop them in space. We have to develop them here and for the betterment of the planet. Usually help companies in the seed to Series A phase, but it's always fun to see those companies move on and grow and expand, and I've helped quite a few along the way. So great to be with you guys.
Great to have you with us. Welcome. Cindy, hello.
Hi everyone, Cindy Ho. I'm calling in from Denver, Colorado. I'm with South Street Capital. We're a Denver-based C-stage, primarily invest in C-stage or later venture capital firm. We're pretty industry and region agnostics. We invest both US and Canada. That's kind of the high level of it. We'd love to connect with you all and excited to hear the pitches today.
Great to have you with us. Welcome. Ratvik,
hello. Where's Cindy located? Are you in Canada or the US?
I'm based in Denver, Colorado, in the US.
Are you satisfied? Jordan? Okay, let's move to Ratvik. Ratvik, hello.
Hey, thanks, Anna, for putting this together and loving the energy and the intros from everyone. It's really great. I really appreciate it. My name is Rudvik. I work with a number of investors as well as deploying my own capital. Where I spend most of my time is with a corporate venture capital fund called Go Ventures. We're from a tech group in the Mediterranean based out of Malta. It's a 300 million euro market cap group, and we've been investing for a while into telecoms, data center, cloud, cybersecurity, managed IT services, and so on and so forth. And we thought in 2018 to start with our Startup Innovation Investment Program. And within 5 years, we reached like a 5x TVPI. So we're doing really well on that, starting to reach distributions. I also support a number of other institutions in Europe, Middle East, and Africa on their investment programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Hope you enjoy it. Stephanie, hello.
Hello, everyone from Chicago. So I'm Stephanie. I like to say that I'm a senior leader selling a lot of ketchup. If there are any Heinz ketchup lovers on the call here, I've been there for 13 years. I have also become a modest private investor. And I also am starting my own AI startup. So you guys, I have so much respect for all of you on the call. Well, what I'm looking for in particular is really mission-driven companies that are bringing to solving societal issues through technology. And check sizes, I would say, a little more modest than some, but interesting, hopefully for some of you on the call.
Well, welcome. Great to have you with us. Marianne, hello.
Hi, I'm Marianne. I run one of the largest and most active communities of tech female founders here in the Bay Area called Women Founders Bay. According to Jordan, I'm the biggest troublemaker, but for women, we're trying to really disrupt things and increase the number of funding going to women founders here in the Bay Area. I also run a venture studio where we help startups build their AI MVP. I'm going to put my LinkedIn and also my Calendly link if you're looking to build your AI backend.
Great to have you with us,
We did a survey on you, Marianne, and you are the biggest troublemaker in the Valley.
Here you go. I am.
Well, Valley needs to be troubled, right?
Exactly.
You're doing the good job. Well, welcome. Great to have you with us. Marcos, will be crowning it all, and we'll move to pitch events after you. Yes, welcome, Marcos.
So thank you very much. I'm Marco. I'm coming from Serbia, Belgrade. I thank Max for the invitation, as his classmate, and I thank you, Anna, as well for great facilitation. It's super interesting to see all the familiar faces and new faces here, and especially to hear the stories from the startup. I would call myself a curious entrepreneur. We have our own family office. And, we invest in the range from 50 to 300K. We look into 3 industries, micromobility on 2 wheels. That would be electric motorcycles and bicycles, and then the softwares around it for motor controlling and battery management systems. We look into supply chain digitization, and especially trade documents and solutions for that. And we work on video games as more than entertainment, actually utilizing the multiplayer video games for other purposes than entertainment. And our primary areas of investments are linked so far to India and Middle East. So
great to have you with us, Marco. Welcome. And Marcos Munir Hanana is our last judge to introduce himself. Please unmute yourself, and we will be able to hear you.
I knew I'm not going to do it right on the tech side, but now it works.
You got it.
My name is Marcos Munir Hanana. I work for Amazon over 10 years now. Very interested in the tech space. I started to advise early stage and mid-stage startups, and I'm also a private investor, a bit more on the more modest side. But I'm trying to get the network together via advising startups. So if you have interesting business models, feel free to reach out.
Great to have you with us. Welcome. Hope you enjoy it. And Vid Meyer, hello.
Hi, everyone. With Meyer, I'm based in Toronto, Canada, and it's a pleasure to join you today. I'm a senior leader with over 20 years of experience in technology consulting, product development, and go-to-market. strategy. Previously, I was a founder of a startup in Brazil focused on building strategic platforms in e-commerce, travel, and CRM. So I know a little bit of this space. Currently, I hold an executive position at Avanet Canada, where I drive innovation across sectors like AI, SaaS, and FinTech. Last year, I also joined the venture capital world as an LLP, adding another layer to my perspective on emerging technologies. I'm super excited to be here today and evaluate some of the startups that are pushing the boundaries of possibility in this transformative field. So thank you very much for having us, and thanks, Maxim, for the opportunity. Looking forward to hearing the pitch.
Welcome. Thanks for coming. And Daniel, you're the last one. Daniel, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hopefully last but not least. So my name is Dan DeBala. I'm from Chicago. My background is in commodities and derivatives trading, so anything related to finance, technology. I'm an active angel investor in several networks in Florida, here in Chicago, as well as in the Middle East. I'm the president of the Qatar Poland Business Council, so I've linked a lot of different investors from the GCC to kind of all around the world. So definitely looking forward to the event. Thank you.
We do too. Thanks for coming, and let's kick it. Dear judges, it's so great to have you with us. Please remember to vote for the startups. You got all your personal links in your mail or in your calendar or both. Please push the link and you'll be redirected to our event page. Beneath each startup, you will see a scroll bar. You have to move this little button from 1 to 10, evaluating startups' investment potential, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Please vote for all the startups so our algorithm can pick the winner correctly. You can change mark anytime, no submission button, nothing, just leave the button where you think it's fair. And I will announce at the end of the event when the votings will be closed. Until then, you can change your mark anytime. And after the pitch session, there'll be a little networking dedicated especially to the startups. So please mark what you want to say to the startups, how can they improve their pitch, or you have some vision, how their go-to-market strategy can be answered, or something else. We will go startup by startup, and you will give your feedbacks to those startups, and then we will have the winners announced. And now, please welcome our participants. As mentioned, we've got a huge number of applicants, but only 6 made it to our event. You see all of them at our event page. You can push them and read their profiles also, but you will hear the pitches right now. And to do our pitch session, to lead it, please welcome my wonderful colleague, Anna, our partner relations manager at Network Silicon Valley Club. It's my pleasure to give a mic to Anna. Anna, let's kick this session.
Hi everyone, I'm happy to see all of you today. Dear founders, you will have 5 minutes to pitch and 5 minutes for Q&A with the judges. Please keep your answer short so as many judges as possible can talk to you. And now I'd like to give the floor to our first company, Equatorial Space. Simon, your 5 minutes are starting right now. Please share your presentation.
All right. Great to meet you, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be connecting with all of you, and thank you very much for the opportunity. So as it stands right now, the space launch industry is practically a monopoly. And if history has taught us one thing, is that monopolies not only not serve anyone in the long term, but they also never last themselves. And as it stands right now, the industry is ripe for disruption. But despite billions of dollars being poured into competitors, to the existing hegemon, very few success stories exist, only reinforcing our belief that you can repeat the same engineering approach as your predecessors and expect different results. So you, of course, know us as a rocket company, but I challenge you to think of us more as a material sciences company, morphing the bleeding edge of chemistry with easily available materials to deliver a new type of propellant that makes rockets safer, simpler, and greener, than ever before. The key to our winning formula is hybrid propulsion, a cost-effective rocket architecture that delivers the same functionality. It can be throttled and shut down as a traditional liquid-propelled rocket for roughly 20% of the cost. Hybrids separate their propellants into distinct states of matter and eliminate the explosive equivalents common in fully liquid and fully solid rockets. And thanks to our core innovation, we have eliminated their past performance issues, bringing them into the foray of mainstream competitiveness. Now we invite you to join our journey to deliver the greatest leap in rocket propulsion in 100 years. It's a journey that's already well underway. Since our inception, we have flown prototype rockets, we advanced our technology to a readiness level of 6, secured $3 million in contracts and backing from 2 governments. And we've accomplished all that for a mere $4 million since 2017, or roughly a month's payroll of some of our contemporaries, or around 15% of their funding to get to a similar stage. But we're not only about rocket engines. Our crack team has it all. With core competencies not only in propulsion but also in chemistry, electronics, avionics and GNC, and flight dynamics and aerostructures, we come from governments, corporates, startups, and the academia, a kaleidoscope of backgrounds that give us a unique edge working together. And while we write history by pushing out in Asia Pacific with our HQ in Singapore, an up-and-coming space hub of its own, we are also firmly on the ground in the United States, where we are about to commence our revenue operations in the coming quarter of 2025. We are currently raising our pre-Series A of 1.7 million, with 1.2 already secured. The round is structured via a safe note at a 21.5 million valuation, and our lead investor was Farquhar VC here in Singapore, with Paspalas Innovation Investment Fund, the strategic investor of Australia's Northern Territory, also joining in. And while our ambitions are vast, we like keeping our heads down and working diligently to monetize what we already have within our grasp. And starting next year, with our current round, we will become a revenue and perhaps even profit-generating launch company by delivering low-cost, regular, and easy-to-procure suborbital launches to help space innovators test and iterate their novel solutions in microgravity environment prior to orbital deployment. Our clients already include MIT and ResearchSat, and we have many more in the pipeline. I would love to connect with your portfolio companies which might benefit from this service. The upcoming launches will be essential to prove ourselves and prove our technology as the greatest fundamental advancement in our business, and will pave way to scaling it towards market leadership. With prices at scale of under $1,000 per kilogram, we'll not only become a market leader, but a transformative player ideal for sensitive cargo such as deep space propulsion units and crewed missions. Please join us on our mission to open up the next chapter in spaceflight for all humanity. Thank you very much.
Simon, thank you very much for your pitch. Kelly, please ask your question.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, Simon. Nice presentation. So how scalable is your service, particularly as demand for suborbital and orbital launches grows?
How sustainable is it?
How scalable?
Scalable. Oh, so we are taking a slightly different approach compared to most launch companies in the sense that we do not want to wait until we raise $200 million to start generating revenue. So the suborbital services are a stepping stone. However, we do notice that a lot of companies seem to be running into the issues with their new technologies as they try to get straight into orbital deployment on board satellites. There's problems with deployment of small satellites like CubeSats. There's problems with telemetry acquisition, and a lot of companies that try to advance their TRL end up with no valuable and actionable data from their initial launches. So that's exactly what we are trying to resolve with the initial product. And at the same time, it helps us to build our, not just our network, but also our own flight heritage, which is very important if you're dealing with a novel propulsion architecture or new propellant composition. So how scalable is that? We anticipate that we could do up to 20 launches per year with this sounding rocket product. And at the pricing that we are looking into, that might actually get us to a point of breaking even before we even get into a Series A.
That's exciting. All the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. The floor is yours.
Me? Okay.
Yes.
Simon, super exciting. Thank you very much. My question for you is your proprietary fuel able to be sold to other rocket companies?
Yes, it can be. However, because of the burn characteristics, even if another company works with hybrid propulsion, they would have to redesign the combustion chamber to the sizing that matches the specifications of our fuel. So it can be done. However, it would take some investment from their side. We did have initial conversations with Blue Origin, with Virgin Galactic, with Sierra Space, and with United Launch Alliance. They were hoping to see more data sets on larger motor firings that we'll be delivering in the next several months. It does remain as an interesting option, and we are looking at that as at least a supplementary business model along the way.
Thank you, Sandeep. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So my question is on the propellant as well. So I just wanted to understand what is the IP, and because it's a kind of mixture of chemicals, can it be re-engineered? And what are your checks there?
Yeah, so it can be modified depending on the application. Like for instance, for some defense use, we are looking at reformulating the fuel to be more storable in well exposed to direct sunlight, and basically be more storable in generally rough environments. So the core formulation, or rather the fundamental combination of low molar mass polymers, which can be mixed with a high volumetric percentage of metallicized powders, is really the core IP. But yes, it can be modified depending on the exact application.
So you have both liquid and solid propellants.
So the liquid oxidizer that we use is pretty generic. We currently work with nitrous oxide, so we do have to be a little mindful about its energetic potential. However, if we use liquid oxygen, we are essentially ending up with a completely inert propellant combination. So that's pretty exciting.
Thank you. Well, I saw you raised your hand. If you have a question, please ask.
Yeah, great. My question is related to the previous question, it's regarding the barrier to entry, but I think you've clarified a bit. I'm going to jump into certification, in terms of, safety certification, whatever, because you mentioned, regarding explosions and stuff like that. And the other one is, what is the milestone you're aiming to reach with this amount? Because it seems a bit tiny,
Well, we've been making a lot with very little so far. We do intend to keep it that way. And in terms of certification, rockets remain experimental, even with human spaceflight right now. However, it will be easier to get a hybrid system, at least permitted through a waiver to operate with human beings on board. And Virgin Galactic is an example of that, although they do not have a solid fuel that performs as well as what we have. So in terms of milestones, we will be a spacefaring company, although suborbital for the time being, and we'll be very close to getting into orbital launch with the pre-Series A that we're raising right now.
But without human on board, right? With this amount?
Sorry?
Without human on board with this amount?
No, without. Sorry. Sadly, no. We will still stick to small cargo up to 30 kilograms.
Morgan, the floor is yours. Please ask a question, and it will be the last one in this Q&A session.
Sounds good. So I think similarly, what is the regulatory requirement to truly work with companies like Blue Origin, and do we have a sense what would be the timeline to even pass their requirement?
Yeah, so one thing is the size. There are some unknowns around scaling of hybrid rocket motors, especially which use novel propellant combinations. And there is no way to really simulate the performance until you physically build and test a scaled out version. So I would say that is the core the core thing that we have to address before we start working with larger companies as a propulsion supplier.
Thank you very much. Dear judges, you can ask the rest of the questions in our chat. And the next company we have is Aquai. Dear Liana, let's start.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. I am Liana Thompson. I'm the founder and CEO of Acquai. And Acquai is offering the most affordable data from waterways. We are a Silicon Valley founded company with wholly owned subsidiaries in Norway and the UAE. I'm speaking to you right now from Abu Dhabi. We are backed by a handful of venture capitalists from the US, as well as global angels and family offices. Our business to date is we have about $500,000 in revenue. We have signed orders as well. We have a very robust pipeline. We have full IP in our mechanics and design. And we've done all of this, including a handful of MVPs, and entered the market on less than $2 million raised to date. A very lean machine indeed. And we have a few accolades along the way. We are addressing not only the global water crisis, but we're actually addressing the main problem, which is we're not able to understand what's in our water because getting data from waterways is too difficult and too expensive. So our technology is threefold. It's a mobile platform that looks and swims like a fish, so it immerses with the natural habitat, carrying a payload of cameras and sensors, harnessing the data, which is delivered to our backend, runs through machine learning and AI for analytics, and then is delivered to the web dashboard for easy access for our customers. You can see here the robot that is swimming. This is an earlier model than the one I just showed you a moment ago. It traditionally holds up to 16 different sensors. The 5 that is most often on board is salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, temperature, and depth, plus the cameras on board. Stays in the water for a year. It inductive charges, goes to the surface. We are swimming with IMUs, DVLs, GPS. We transmit information through 3.4, 5G and satellite. The data, as you just saw on the dashboard, is easily accessible. We've swum in harbors, dams, and in sustainable aquaculture in the north of Norway as well. And in fact, that's the market that we've penetrated the most. And when I'm talking about different use cases, it's the same drone. It doesn't matter if we're in smart city water management or floods, because as you all know, floods are growing and the toxicity levels are ever increasing, or biodiversity when it comes to protecting the mangroves or our corals. We're also in ports and harbors, emergency management I just spoke of, and in disaster management, coastal areas, marine protected areas, and sustainable aquaculture. Sustainable aquaculture is actually the lowest carbon footprint on a growing planet to providing the protein. And when you look at the markets in each of these different categories, they're all very, very robust. I'm going to focus primarily on the aquaculture market because that is where we do have our first penetration, and that is also where our go-to-market strategy is most active, as well as we have some pending pilots coming up, and I'll speak to that in a moment. In sustainable aquaculture, we're working with Kvarøy in the north of Norway in the Arctic Circle that supply Whole Foods and Michelin chefs with the utmost sustainably farmed salmon. They are the only farm in Norway that has best aquaculture practices certification. We're able to boost their production 5%, save them feed, which if you know farmers, which I'm not necessarily sure you do, it's at least 50 to 70% of their cost as a farmer in growing, producing salmon is from feed. So we're able to actually reduce their feed, which is reducing also the waste into the waterways. So it's better for the waterways. We're also doing net inspections. We're able to go with a 3 and 5 and 9 different meters. We're taking all those static buoys and cameras and putting it on a mobile system that is swimming along with the stock at all times, making sure that the best analytics before it goes in the back, the best harnessing before it goes through analytics is optimized. We are doing trials to increase our addressable market. Here in the UAE, we're detecting derelict sea cages, and we're starting to work with different luxury hotels as well. The competition is primarily in the robot fish market. It is an industry, is mostly out of China, but I'm happy to say that we're still more affordable in the Chinese systems. Our team is incredibly international. They're doing things like putting stuff on the Mars rover. My founder and co-partner is 35 years in climate and 30 in robotics. We're raising 1.5 so we can scale. so that we can bring in our revenue and we can convert our pipeline and deliver the signed orders that we already have. So please reach out to me. Here's my email, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Liana, thank you very much for your exciting presentation. Sandeep, the floor is yours.
Hi, it was really a great presentation. My question is on the compliance of the data, and because when you're going into international waters or coastal waters, there is a lot of regulatory influence. So how are you taking care of that, and how are you storing the data? Because that's again, it comes under national security. So.
Okay, so there's a few answers to that question. So when you're working where we're working in sustainable aquaculture, it's not a question of national security. And I want to stress out that we are not working with any defense systems at all, not in the US and not in any other country. And we made that decision to dedicate our technology to be for the blue economy, where the systems that where people need an affordable system and don't have the deep pockets of defense or oil and gas. So we're not running into the same restrictions that, let's say, an autonomous underwater vehicle that goes down to certain depths in mapping would definitely necessarily fall into the category of national security. And where we're actually monitoring, we don't have some of those same restrictions because the waters are shallow. And because we're not in bed, if you will, with any specific government's defense, we're actually able to be in terrestrial waters as well as offshore for coastal monitoring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caleb. Please ask a question.
Thank you, Anna. And great presentation. So how adaptable are your autonomous underwater vehicles to varied and challenging water conditions, for example, like high pollution levels or temperature extremes?
Okay, so as I mentioned, Silicon Valley, then we went down to San Diego and did a lot of our work in Southern California. And then we went to the north of Norway in the Arctic Circle and put the units in there and they swam. We actually went to the island, brought 7 3D printers, made 8 robots in 6 weeks, deployed them and went back to San Diego, left them in the water, in the freezing waters of the North Arctic Circle, and they swam fine. Now that we're in the UAE, we're also testing it in terms of the warmer weather, the hotter oceans. But so far, we've had luck. We've had almost 0 biofouling. And keep in mind that these units are also staying in the water for up to a year, depending on the salinity level, and they're inductive charging. So they're docking and they're transmitting and charging before they go off on their next mission, if you will. So we've actually been, even to our surprise, very, very happy with the ability and the robustness of the technology. And in terms of changing, because it's a plug and play system, so the cameras and sensors are off the shelf, it's all plug and play. So we're able to snap on different sensors as needed.
Great,
thank you. Maria, please ask a question.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, let me answer one more thing. And we can swim in 45 to 4 knots, we swim, and in very, very, very rugged currents as well. Sorry about that, Maria.
Thanks, Liane. I applaud you for tackling such a significant issue as water pollution. One question I have for you is a little bit more about who your customers actually are, because you did say you're focusing on aquaculture. You did show a lot of different customer segments. And so tell me a little bit more about what you know about that customer segments you're going after.
Sure. So we got, in true Silicon Valley way, you build it and then they say, great, who's going to pay for it? So we had our first customers in Norway, which was wonderful for us because we were able to do a lot of the testing in the safety of these cages. And plus with aquaculture at a, $290 billion market and growing more and more and more so because there are no more fish left in the sea, wild fish. It's been a great market for us. So even here in the UAE, we're part of the presidential court for their aquaculture strategy, as well as their water security strategy. Somebody mentioned earlier that this area is booming, and the focus on water security and food security is at the utmost forefront of everyone's mind. So we're actually going forward with the very focus in penetrating the aquaculture market also here and also in KSA, in the Kingdom, of Saudi Arabia as well, aquaculture, because they have their 2030 targets to farm actually 300,000 tons of finfish. So they've also reached out to us. So our blinders are on with aquaculture, but at the same time, we're also increasing our addressable market by agreeing to do different pilot projects so that we can actually prove the technology in those areas as well.
The time for the Q&A is over, and now we are moving on to the next groundbreaking company. Please welcome M Aerospace and its founder, Juan. Your time starts right now. Please share your presentation.
There you go. So, hello everyone. My name is Juan Munguia, co-founder and CEO of M Aerospace RTC. And what we do is we build large-scale metal 3D printing technology. Just a little bit of my background. I'm an aeronautical engineer with a master's on aerospace design and focus most of my career developing 3D print technology for aerospace and defense application. Actually, working on the industry, we started looking that the metal 3D printing industry was growing a lot, and now it's estimated to be an industry of more than $350 billion by 2035 worldwide, and just in the US might become an industry of more than $30 billion. The main issue with the current 3D printers available on the market is that they're very limited by the size that they can print. And also most of them cannot combine materials, as well as they have issues with printing complex geometry. So that's the main reason why we decided to develop the world's first AI large metal 3D printer, which we call Armdus 2.1. With our patent technology, we can produce up to 1,000 cubic meters metal parts, and also we are capable of combining several materials into a single part, as well as it's very easy to operate. What is really unique about our patent technology is that, again, we can build all the way up to 1,000 cubic meters with a resolution of 100 microns, so the size of a human hair. Also, we can combine parts to be like half titanium with half aluminum. That's possible and can be used for repair applications. Also, we have developed some apps like our augmented reality platform where we show customers in real time how the parts are being manufactured, inspected, and assembled, all through an app. And we also develop a frictionless quote system so customers can just upload the CAD file and know exactly how much the part will cost, and even give recommendations about how to improve their design. It's actually one of the business cases that we developed for one of our customers. And thanks to our technology, we were able to reduce the production time of a critical satellite antenna bracket by 50%, also reduce the weight by 25%, and improve the stiffness to weight to radio by 25%. We have several customers on the aerospace and defense industry like Honeywell, Amphenol, and even we do have some customers on the automobile industry like General Motors and Audi, and even some on the medical like Medtronic. Usually how we get to new customers is through referral programs, also attending several trade shows, and we do a lot of inbound and outbound marketing, so webinars, blogs around our technology, and obviously some paid ads. In terms of competition, well, of course, there's competition. So there are companies like 3D Systems, Desktop Metal, which they focus on very small, high detail metal parts, but they cannot print super alloys or tooling steels like we can. Also, they cannot combine materials, and they don't have any AI integration. So our system is always learning how to become better and more efficient. Our business model is pretty simple. We sell the printers for $200,000. That's the starting price point. The second prong of revenue is contract manufacturing. So if the customer does not want to purchase a printer, they just send the parts to us and we print the parts for them. And then when it makes sense because of the volume, we offer the printers. And then the third prong of revenue is maintenance contracts. So once we install the printers, we charge $10,000 a year just to keep the printers running. And also we provide the materials that goes on the printers. In terms of revenue, 2022, we did already $1.5 million in revenue. Last year, 2023, we did $3 million in revenue. This year, we already have done $4.3 million in revenue. And in the next couple of years, we will at least at least double our digits, because actually a couple of months ago, we just signed a Navy contract. This is a $10 million Navy contract to deploy 66 printers within the next 3 years. So as you can see, we will continue growing. And the reason we are slowing down right now is because we're building a new facility in the US to scale production. We have a great team, so full mechanical engineers, PhDs in aeronautics. My co-founder, Agustin, has a lot of experience on the mechanical industry. Also, we have an amazing board of advisors with Kit Stevenson and Angelos Angelou, a very well-renowned economist with more than 30 years of experience. Our headquarters are in Austin, Texas. We do have a manufacturing site in Mexico, so South San Diego, California. And we're building a facility at 9,700 square feet in McAllen, Texas, to comply with these new government contracts as well. We have customers in Mexico, in the US, and soon in Europe as well. We also have won several awards, and currently we're seeking $2 million on our equity round. So at the pre-money valuation of $12 million, this is to help the growth of this new facility in McAllen for equipment, working capital, and human resources. And I will be glad to share more information. And previous to this round, we have raised $1.8 million from all these amazing investors that we have on screen. So thank you very much for your time and appreciate your questions.
Thank you very much for your pitch. I see Mariette wants to ask a question.
Yep.
Thank you very much. That's super impressive, your progress to date. What is your current sales cycle? So for that large Navy contract, what was your sales cycle like? What's your cost of customer acquisition?
Sure. So right now, a typical life cycle is around 6 to 9 months to get those types of contracts. I will say that 100% of our customers start on a contract manufacturing basis. They first need to try the technology, and then when it makes sense because of the volume, we basically offer the printers. And again, it usually takes between 6 to 9 months.
What about your cost of customer acquisition?
Right now, it's around $4,000 per customer.
Thank you. Morgan, the floor is yours.
Couple of questions. Like who are your current customers? Where are they located? And two is, how are your solutions different from some of the major competitors? Who are the main competitors on the market?
Yes, so again, most of our customers are aerospace defense oriented, customers like Honeywell, GM, but we do have automobile industries. Again, so what is unique is our patent. We have 2 patents around our technology. One has to do with our heat inert chamber. This basically allows us to be able to have very large structures without having any stress concentration. And the second has to do with our nozzle. We call this technology liquid metal deposition. And this is what allows us to basically combine several alloys. Like I mentioned, biggest competitors are like 3D System, Desto Metal. They focus on very high detail, small metal parts, but they cannot print like super alloys like we can. And they also cannot combine material. And this is thanks again to our technology, which is already patented.
I see. What is how exactly those your parts is going to be used? Like, for example, if we're using a car, like what this competitor cannot do and you will be able to do in terms of providing specific parts.
So let me give you a quick example with General Motors, right? So with General Motors, we're doing a frame of the truck, of the new EV trucks that are coming to market. So on these special things, we're doing a very unique alloy, which is called X alloy. And again, this has to do with our patent because we're the only ones who are able to manage certain alloys. So like the part is in sometimes is titanium, in some other is like aluminum, and in some other is hex alloy. So it's a combination. And again, we're the only ones in the market who can print these parts as big as 3 feet long with the resolution that we can, which is 100 microns of resolution.
Thank you.
What is the size of the machine, including the CNC? And does it work on like 4 axis, 5 axis, or only?
It's a 5-axis robot arm. The size right now of our standard configuration is a 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet machine. It weighs around 500 kilos. And basically, I mean, if you put it on a gantry system, then basically you can expand the range of the arm, right? So
considering mixing materials, in case of maintenance, do you replace the head only, or you need to replace like how complicated is the maintenance, considering mixing materials?
So when you buy your printers, it already includes, like, that's why we charge $10,000 a year to provide the maintenance to the customers. Usually it's like a regular maintenance includes like replacement of the nozzle, doing some calibrations, and it takes usually around a week to make this maintenance. we're the ones who provide those maintenance.
Okay, I've seen something 5.0 robotics in Estonia, but they've been doing different heads. But that could be taken as aside. I would like to know more about this, and I leave the floor for other questions.
Sure, I will leave my email.
Thank you. Kelly, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, Juan. Are there any limitations on the materials that can be printed? And another quick question, how does the additive manufacturing process manage waste?
Yeah, so for the first question, right now we only offer 5 different metals, which is titanium, aluminum, stainless steel, and Inconel alloy, so Inconel 625 and 718. We're working on other metals like hexalloy, copper, and bronze, which are coming to market beginning next year. Basically, if you can weld the material, we can print it. And in terms of, reduction, so actually we're working really strong with standards like ASTM and SAE to basically diminish the CO2 emission. And we have done a lot of studies about comparing it with CNC machining, and we're most of the cases up to 20% more efficient.
Thank you, and we can ask one last question. Jordan, the floor is yours.
So this is the hardest question for you. You are a sales company. You sell, sell, sell. I don't see any recurring revenue. I don't think this is a venture-worthy company. Convince me your venture.
So first of all, we have maintenance contracts. So once we sell the printers,
that's not recurring, sir. That's a basic sales element.
And we have several studies like GM, for example. We start with the customer, they place a printer order 2 years ago. Right now, this year, they just placed 6 printer orders. Companies like BMW, Audi, they're investing really heavy on AI.
This is not a recurring model. You are selling hardware, you're selling equipment. Is there a subscription level service revenue that you can bring in other than the maintenance contracts?
Besides selling the printers and maintenance, at the moment, we don't have that.
Yeah, I want to encourage you to consider something like this to put you in front of the bigger VCs for scalable investment opportunities for you, sir.
Yeah, we'll appreciate. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you, judges. Sorry, we're on the schedule. We have to be very tight on our schedule and leave a time for the next startup. But before I give a floor to our 4th contestant, dear judges, please vote for the investment potential of the 3 startups you already heard. And remember to do it while you hear the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th startup. I am watching the backstage and I see who voted and who didn't. So please do not disappoint me. Please vote for all the startups so we can have the fair winner announced and include your meaning in the choosing the winner as well. So Anna, the floor is yours. Let's continue, please.
Thank you, Anna. Next in line, we have Open Refactory. Munawar, the floor is yours, and the timer is starting now.
You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let's come back from rockets to robots to printers to something that unifies them all, the software underneath them. If you are in the software delivery business, you have been always concerned about security. But you have come to this chilling realization, specifically from the 2021 Log4Shell debacle, that most of your software isn't yours. You build your software on tens of thousands of open source dependencies, and you are taking all the risks that are there in those open source software. 97% of applications now use open source code. And the whole open source movement in the last 20 years have now created an $8.8 trillion marketplace that is built on top of that. But the security practices in open source are not as closely guarded as the closed source software. And therefore, you run into problems when you are building your tools on top of that. The current industry that addresses these risks is the software composition analysis or SCA industry. What SCA does is a matchmaking thing. It looks at your dependencies. It identifies if there is a publicly known vulnerability that is there, and it identifies you there. But by the time a vulnerability is publicly known and you get the signal, it is a reactive signal and the damage has already been done. This particular industry have seen a lot of growth since the 2021 Log4Shell. But think of Log4Shell. That particular vulnerability was there in the code for over 8 years, and nobody was able to detect that. So what we are doing, Open Refactory, is we are proactively looking into your open source dependencies and finding the next Log4Shell vulnerabilities for you. Our product is called Project Clean Beach, or PCB, and this is a SaaS. And what it does is it builds on a metaphor that your open source dependencies are like public beaches, which is messy. As an organization, you care about your section of the beach. And what you provide us to our SaaS is your software bill of materials, which describe what your open source dependencies are. And we provide you a unique signal of previously undetected vulnerabilities in those software. This is a proactive signal that nobody else in the industry is providing now. And PCB is powered by our proprietary SaaS solution, which is called Intelligent Code Repair, or ICR, that is enabling us to provide this signal at scale that the others cannot provide. This risk is paramount for the Fortune 500 companies. And we are specifically focusing on 3 verticals where this risk is more prominent than the others. These are the technology, the financial, and the healthcare healthcare verticals. And together in these 3 verticals, there are about 192 prospects. Each of these prospects have on average 50,000 artifacts. So the question is, for our companies, how do we scale from where we are now to provide services to these companies where we can provide unique signals about these 50,000 artifacts or more? Right now, we are in the capacity of generating 5,000 signals per month, and we want to augment it to 25,000 in the near future so that we can start servicing the larger companies. Our go-to-market approach is based on 3 key ideas. We have already gone past the first part, where we have we started with a 50K contract in 2023, which expanded to 250K. It is already renewed to 450 next year. This is from a fund called Alpha Omega, which is provided by Microsoft, Google, and Amazon. And we are in the next stage now where we are now directly contacting with these companies, Microsoft, Google, and Amazon, and offering our services to them. And by Q1 next year, we expect to convert a couple of these accounts. We are also looking into the Fortune 500 verticals. So once we get those logos, we'll move into the other verticals, as I mentioned, and start working with them. Our current ARR is about 320K. We'll end the year at about 600K, and these are some of the companies that are in the pipeline. Our team has 10+ startup experiences, and we have been in the technology, the engineering leadership, and startup space for a long time. We're looking for $5 million investment at a $20 million pre-valuation. We have already raised. We've so far raised $1 million, and we have previously raised $1 million, and we have reached the 600K ARR that I just mentioned. Thank you, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Manavar, thank you for your interesting presentation. Morgan, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I have a couple of questions. One is why those large companies couldn't proactively look at their bill of material and detect the potential risks. What unique do you have versus other companies do not have to identify those risks? And 2 is, what would be the cost of the risk for the customer? How do you quantify the impact, the value you bring to the customer?
Great questions. Number 1 is the current problem with proactively finding these signals is the false positives that are generated by the static analysis tools that are used to scan them. And so typical static analysis tools, they operate from 10 to 90% false positive rate. So every 10 bugs it identifies 9 that are not real bugs. And doing that, the companies are already struggling using the static analysis tools on your proprietary code. Doing this on 1,000 of your dependencies is just impractical at this particular point. What our tool, Intelligent Code Repair or ICR, does is it dramatically reduces the false positive that allows us to do that. And I can provide you a little bit more information. Let me get to the next question, which is the average cost of these failures. The market data says it's about $10 million in the US for average every security failure that the companies have.
Thank you. Sandeep, the floor is yours.
Hey, it's a nice presentation. I have a couple of questions. One is on the competitors, because I think you have GitHub Advanced Security, which takes care of some of this. And the second question I have is automated code remediation is pretty good to hear, but in actuality, there are a lot of reliability concerns. So how are you mitigating those?
Yeah, great question. Number one is all of those, like including GitHub Advanced Security as well as the others, they're all based on the SCA. And the entire SCA industry is right now on reactive signals only. Without the public information available or somebody already detecting the bug and making it public, there is no information that is showed by any of these tools, the SCA tools that are out there. We are providing we are the first company that is providing a proactive signal. So we will proactively go and find the next Log4 shell for you. That's the first part. And the second question was, if you could remind me, sorry about it.
The question was on the remediation, because you're saying you're automatically going to remediate the code correction without understanding. So I'm a little skeptical of how you're going to solve that, without understanding the business logic behind it.
Yeah. So we have already. So first of all, for all the bugs that we identify, we go through a manual triaging process and before we submit these bugs to open source. And in the past, you have seen that in the recent past, in our previous contract, we have already scanned like 9,000 plus artifacts. We have reported 400 plus bugs. And what is interesting is 75% of the bugs that we have reported that have already been merged in open source code. So we have shown a great track record, which we are now taking to serious, like the companies that are funding this particular fund.
Thank you. Vig, the floor is yours.
Yeah, hi, good presentation. Slightly more technical than I needed to be at this level. It's the only thing I would say. One couple quick questions. One, who's the buyer for this? Who's your ideal customer profile? If you could share that. And two, I think like we're saying, there are many GitHub Copilots equivalent today in the market. What's the competitive landscape with them? Some do look for bugs beyond SCA.
Yes. So there's the static analysis market and the SCA market. The SCA market specifically focuses on open source dependencies, but their signal is entirely reactive. The static analysis tool market only provides you like fixes for your proprietary code, but it never goes into open source code because of the false positive that I mentioned. And what we are doing is we are selling directly to all of these clients. So we will be right now in conversation with Microsoft and Amazon and Citibank. And we are also working with Citibank for a strategic investment from the Citi Ventures for this particular work. So we'll be directly selling to all of these organizations.
Understood. And who do you sell to in an organization for them to buy it? And while you mentioned static, there's also dynamic analysis that a lot of companies offer as well.
Yes, that dynamic.
We'll connect maybe.
Yeah, dynamic analysis is actually like, it doesn't work for enterprise scale because of the setup overhead that requires in dynamic analysis. For these companies, we'll be selling directly to the ProdSec team or the OSPO team, the Open Source Program Office, and the product security team.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, dear judges. You can ask the rest of the questions in our chat. Dear companies, dear founders of the companies, please answer to the questions because there are some questions that are still unanswered. And now let's move to Emergen. Chris, the countdown begins now. You'll have 5 minutes.
Nice to meet everybody. If you imagine a world where 100% of an enterprise's data is accessible through simple language prompts, and how would this revolutionize AI utilization, accelerate insights, boost revenue, and reduce cost? Is my screen advancing? Can you see my screen?
Yeah, all is good.
Yes.
But
Yep.
it's the last slide.
Okay, sorry. So, introducing super ontology by Emergent. We've developed an AGI model that replicates humans' ability to ingest unstructured data, extract the relevant information, and provide answers faster, more accurately, and a much lower cost than humans. The unique solution is a highly technical ensemble of proprietary technologies that the tech team has been specializing on for over 25 years. This model is a combination of old technology like zero-shot learning, which is combined with new technology like transformers, RAG, and agents, all custom built in-house. Now, according to Gartner, 99% of the world's data is still unstructured, and 80 to 90% of enterprise data is unstructured. The problem is today's systems only work with structured data. So firms need humans to manually process this data into a structured format, which is very inefficient for firms looking to scale AI. After successful POCs with industry giants like Goldman Sachs, Bank of New York, and PIMCO, we identified a critical gap. Existing tools can't handle about 50% of enterprise data. This led us to develop our front-end Data Central, solving the unstructured data final mile. Now, 95+% of a firm's data can be handled by technology with less than 5% requiring human intervention. So literally the human out of the loop and on top of the loop. This also creates a layer of AI governance for all their data where there is a complete audit trail for all the models and analytics that data is being fed into. Now, how did we solve this problem? The senior tech team are all full stack engineers with over 100+ years of experience in AI, machine learning, NLP, OCR, knowledge graphs. And now we're combining that with our sales team, which has over 70 years of sales and domain experience. We've unearthed many use cases for our tech. We were primarily focused on banks and asset managers. The use cases are unlimited and work across most industries. One use case at a global commercial real estate company would save them over $100 million in cost, reduce the time to create a lease proposal from 5 days to less than an hour, increase accuracy from the 80% range to 99%, and increase revenue by allowing for more proposals for more deals. This is just one example of the power of the model. Our go-to-market is to have both a direct sales as well as channel partner sales effort. The channel partners so far include Snowflake, Calibra, DataIQ, Centennia, Data Millennium, Doran Jones, and we're working now with MongoDB. Here are the projections, which show 6 million of ARR at the end of 2025, with 2 million in direct sales and 4 million from our partners. Now, if you just took a look at the Snowflake partnership alone, they are predicting we'd have a 4 to 5% penetration rate over the next 2 to 3 years, which would equate to 400 to 500 clients and over $75 million in revenue. Here's a quick snapshot of our senior management team, both on the sales and the technology side. Our ask. The founder's initial investment was $750,000. We have raised $1.45 million so far on a pre-seed safe note. We are looking for $500,000 to close the round. This funding will sustain us for 6 to 8 months, which will allow us to begin invoicing our first 3 clients and converting the pipeline of MSAs and POCs that we have to start generating revenue and then close the upcoming seed round. The products built, many use cases have proven. We've had 30 successful POCs. We have partners in place that have over 12,000 clients. And now we just need the capital to scale. I'll leave you with one comment. After our demo with the head of AI at one of the largest, most prestigious global investment banks, he said this is the best tech solution he's ever seen for this problem, and it is, in his view, the beginning of AGI. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now it's time to proceed to our Q&A. Mariette, the floor is yours.
You kind of started addressing my question at the end. My question is, what has been the feedback from your early users?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback's been impressive. I mean, when you take a look at the existing technology, which is either RAG or IDP technology, which includes tagging, labeling, and training a model, we take one document, one set of metrics that need to be extracted, drop it in, and we're getting 99% precision and 87% recall with that one document. When we compare that to what we saw at a firm like Goldman, the best they're getting on private equity valuation docs, with all their outside vendors, with all the LLMs, with all their 11,000 engineers, is 38% accuracy. So it's a completely different approach than what exists out there.
Thank you, Thomas. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Two questions, please. MVP, is anybody using your current products? And the second, financials. The product, is anybody using it now as MVP or what are the client experience?
Yes.
And the financials?
Yeah, we have 3 clients in Europe that are signed up, that are piloting the software right now, and we'll start generating invoicing them next month. And we've got 5 clients in the US that we're ready for when our platform is fully integrated into Snowflake, which should be the end of December, to beta test our software that will be co-developed with Snowflake. And then you said financials?
Yeah, the financials. How do you see yourself in 5 years, let's say 5, 7 years in revenue?
If I just believe what Snowflake is telling us they can do based off their 90 different vendors they already have on their native app platform, I believe we'll be, well through 100 million in revenue if we just did nothing but worked on their 10,000 clients. And that's in 3 years. That's their guesstimate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. The mic is yours.
Yeah, Chris, speaking on behalf of a Fortune 500 company, I can tell you, actually, I think your market size is far larger. All CPGs, so think big food, are struggling with unstructured data, and they will be behind AI. So it's really amazing that you've created this. I think 2 things. One, would really like to understand the IP and like how it's actually working to understand your accuracy. And then number 2, and somebody else put in the chat, how are you guys working through like privacy of data? Like we have agreements with Snowflake, and if you consider them a strategic partner, we're going to have to really think about handing over data in your data privacy commitments. Right.
So a couple different, the key value of this partnership with Snowflake is, number 1, it takes care of the security issues for firms like Goldman and BNP and Liberty Mutual be the first testers. Second, it takes rid of the tech risk because we're not building anything on their platform. And third, it takes out the startup risk because now it's a Snowflake, co-developed product. So those are the key things, for us as we look at it, because no one wants their data leaving their environment, right? Especially into their confidential data. So everything's been built in mind with that. So, the security that we've set up with Snowflake will be successful for any of the clients that they have underlying using them.
Thank you. Jordan, please ask your question.
Chris, you strike me as a kind of guy who's building this to exit in the near future. Is this a valid assessment?
We're building this to see if we, look at the opportunity. We've been in healthcare companies, legal companies. We've talked to CROs that generate huge amounts of unstructured data developing drugs. We've talked to warranty companies, insurance companies. Everyone is drowning in unstructured data. So the upside is...
You're not one I'm thinking as an investor. What's your trajectory to an exit? You're in a space that is saturated with unstructured data solutions. There's billions of people doing this. How do you differentiate yourself from me as an investor to say in the next 3 years, are you just solving that one singular problem for the 10,000 customers you spoke of? Or are you trying to position yourself to be acquired for 20, 30x from today?
Yeah, no, the key differential between us and everybody else in unstructured data, our system understands the context of the data like a human. It extracts the information like a human would from a document, any kind of any form of unstructured data, without any training, labeling, or anything at the bottom, and creates a single data source that you can now prompt engineer just simple English questions for any part of your data. So it's very different than anything that exists.
You're still playing judo with me. I'm talking exit, you're talking product. Let's talk offline, how your exit trajectory is going to be looking like. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Unfortunately, the time for the Q&A is over, but you can ask all the questions in our chat. And now let me introduce Owl AI, our final company. Wade, your 5 minutes to pitch will start now. Please share your presentation.
Great. Thank you very much. First of all, thank you to Network Silicon Valley Club for having me here today. My name is Wade Appelman. I'm the Chief Business Officer for Owl Autonomous Imaging. At Owl AI, we do something called thermal night vision powered by artificial intelligence. But at the core of it, we're a fabless semiconductor company, which means we design and build our own digital image sensors, specifically around long-wave infrared thermal. We also have software where we do AI machine learning algorithms that are also uniquely designed for thermal imaging. Thermal imaging, by the way, senses temperatures and needs zero light to produce images. It is also not blinded by snow, fog, rain, or bright oncoming light like other sensors are. There are two markets we really concentrate on. One is known as dual use in civil and defense applications, and the other is automotive ADAS, or automatic driver assist systems, which are used in vehicles for automatic braking and autonomy. And I'll give you examples of both of these here shortly, but the best way to do this is a video. So in this video, you see a car driving at night. You see a thermal image on the left-hand side where you can see the palm trees, the people, the dog easily. But on the right-hand side is the exact scene filmed at the exact same time, but captured with the camera that is typically used in most cars today. But notice you can't see anything outside of the headlights. So how do we solve that problem, and why does it matter? We started Owl to solve this problem in 2019, where we raised our first round of money through a seed round anchored by a $230,000 SBIR award. Then we raised $15 million in January of 22, and we're currently in the process of raising another $13 million that we've partially closed. As we look at the first market in a little more detail that we're going after, unfortunately, the world is seeing a tremendous amount of conflicts right now. Thermal imaging is really, really important for this market, whether it's for military purposes, border protection, or civil surveillance. Specifically within these use cases are these applications where we're seeing a ton of interest in using thermal imaging, for instance, on drones for battlefield awareness, situational intelligence, and civil and law enforcement. But to be able to see safely at night when you cannot illuminate a scene is a really, really critical problem. We've actually had a lot of success in this market recently, and this month we're pleased to be able to announce that we just closed a $2 million straight to phase 2 SBIR with the US Army. We also have been working with a lot of the defense primes, but I can't tell you who they are right now, but there's a number of these that are international companies that are looking to deploy our technology in the use cases that I've just described. In the auto industry, there's an interesting trend that's happening. You may not have heard of yet, but NHTSA, which is the same US organization that mandated airbags, seatbelts over the years, has issued a new pedestrian nighttime safety ruling. This new ruling, this new mandate requires that by September of 2029, every new car sold in the US must stop safely for pedestrians at night when traveling at 45 miles an hour. Almost 7,000 of the worldwide deaths occur in the United States, with the majority of those at night. And over the last 10 years, that's a 77% increase, and that's why NHTSA has acted. Owl's technology solves this problem to see at night, and we're working with a number of those companies, including OEMs and tier 1 suppliers, to deploy thermal imaging for night vision for front-facing use cases, long-distance detection, chaotic scenes at night, and other degraded visual environments. Just to give you an example, this is what our solution looks like at night in high-definition thermal. You can clearly see the pedestrians on the right-hand side of your screen that are almost 100 meters away. So just look in the background and you'll see these pedestrians waving their hands. Our software is identifying those pedestrians, and we're just showing this screen in the lower left-hand side, and you can see the bounding boxes around the cars and the pedestrians and see what that looks like. We have a number of timelines when these markets are going to get adopted, from with dual use is adopting today and automotive is just emerging. From what does an OWL do perspective, we're building the focal plane arrays and cameras that you see here. Our pro forma is listed here. We're currently expected to do $1 million in 2024 and going to EBIT positive in 2026. We're currently raising an A+ round. $5.5 million are available for a quick close. Our team is experienced in this market. I come from ON Semiconductor. A number of our team comes from Kodak, LSI Logic, Applied Materials, and experts in thermal imaging. I just want to thank you again for your time here today, and I look forward to sharing this presentation with you offline. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for sharing your innovative company with us. I see Sandeep wants to ask a question.
Sure. Hi, Wade. Another presentation. Just a couple of questions on how the thermal imaging going to affect due to weather patterns and changes in weather. And the second one is how are we reducing the cost? Because as you've seen, you're going to have a tremendous growth, but the cost of these technologies is pretty high at this point of time. So what's your roadmap to reduce that?
Yeah, great two questions. So first of all, thermal sees in all weather conditions, and we have examples of thermal working in snow, in blinding rain, in the heat of the summer, and the cold of winter. So thermal does work in relative temperatures very, very well. In terms of lowering what's called SWaP-C, size, weight, and power cost, that is really the value proposition of OWL. And we've been able to take the costs, which today an HD thermal camera to the US military cost about $16,000. We expect to bring that cost down to just a few $1,000s. And by the time it's adopted in automotive by 2029, we expect that same HD camera to cost about $250, and for pedestrian safety, less than $100. So there's a very good roadmap to bring the cost down and address that size, weight, and power, and that's why our customers are excited by this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly, please ask a question.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, Wade. One quick question. So how do your system compare with existing thermal imaging solutions in terms of resolution, power consumption, and reliability under extreme conditions?
Sure. So there are a few companies that are working in long-wave infrared. Some of the large defense contractors like Safran, SCD Elbit, they're more focused on the higher end use cases. And frankly, some of those can become partners of ours as they look to adopt our semiconductors in their camera solutions. We definitely compete at resolution. You notice I keep on using the word high definition thermal. That means 1200 by 800 pixels. Almost all of the low cost thermal cameras that are out there today are VGA resolution or quarter VGA resolution. And there's technical reasons that they can't really easily go much further in resolution than that cost effectively. And we've brought an entire digital design out to address that need.
Thank you, Mariette. The floor is yours.
Thanks. Quick question, Wade. So are you working as part of your strategy to work with other companies that are making drones to integrate them? And if so, which companies?
Well, obviously, I can't share exactly which drone manufacturers we're working with due to NDAs, but you can imagine that the market has really embraced the use of drones, and there's really some companies, I'll just drop the names of some of these examples, Skydio being a very good example of a US-based drone company, that today, not all this is public, they use a FLIR thermal camera today. And one of the challenges, again, they're very public about, is reducing the size, weight, power, and cost of what's on that gimbal. We're seeing some of the large defense contractor companies also realizing you can't put a $10,000 camera on something that is becoming a disposable, and that's becoming a hindrance to use of drones. So bringing the cost down, working with both the big, large defense primes as well as what I'd call well-established startups here in the United States is absolutely a strategy for the company, and we're talking to all of them.
How do you split your focus between the braking systems and drones?
I'll tell you, that has been a challenge. We started our company focused on the automotive market, and the automotive market has that mandate is super important. That is going to probably produce 16 million cameras for thermal by the end of 2029, which is a huge opportunity. But the automotive market is slow and it's hard to adapt to. You can't exclusively work on the dual use market, and you can't exclusively wait for automotive. So this has been a really opportunistic event that has occurred where we designed our product for reliability and cost, but the defense markets are absolutely looking to take non-ITAR restricted components, of which this is just Department of Commerce standard restrictions, into their use cases. And that's why I've emphasized the word dual use. And we are initially getting our revenue from the defense space, but we're working with all the all the automotive OEMs in Europe and in the US as well to talk about the automotive segment.
It's time to finish our Q&A session. I give the floor
Thank
to
you.
Anna.
Yes, but Miguel can ask a question. We have he was awfully quiet all this event, so you can ask a short question to our last contestant, but not least. Miguel, if you have a question. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Anna.
Hi,
I
Miguel.
want to ask, hi, Wade. Quick question. How would you explain the ratio of having raised $15 million and your accumulated revenue is below $1.5 million? So it's like 10 times. What has changed? So in this time, you're going to raise another 15 and you're going to be successful in not burning them. Thank you.
So I'm not sure I fully understand the question. Are you asking a valuation question? Is that what you're asking, or how we use the funds question?
It's a performance question. It's I understood you've raised already $15 million in your A round, and now we are thinking to raise another 15. But if I address your accumulated revenue during the last 6 years, it's below $1.5 million. So
I understand your question.
Yeah.
I understand your question now, and it's one of the challenges of being a semiconductor company. The cost of building chips in the process nodes that we're doing to get the cost, size, and weight, power down is exceptionally expensive. And so one of our lead investors, actually in this round, I can disclose this, is Global Foundries, which is one of the largest semiconductor companies in the world. They recognize the need for building scale, and one of the challenges is bringing these funds in and using it to scale for the semiconductor manufacturing process. These contracts are starting to get awarded, and now we have to be able to build hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these chips, and that takes investment.
Thank you, Wade. It was all for the questions. Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you, startups. You did it all. Now you can exhale and relax. But dear judges, now I want you to pitch in. Please look at our event page. Make sure you voted for all the startups. I will share my screen again, and you will see that here I have this little button, stop voting, which will be pushed in 30 seconds, and all the votes will be closed. But before that, you have 30 seconds. You can change your vote for any of the startup. Remember, you are evaluating investment potential from your own perspective. 1 is being the lowest grade, 10 is being the highest. Please make sure you put the fair marks to every startup you heard today. And after we close the votes, we will have a little discussion and see how different categories of judges had voted. And then we will reveal the winner. We will have the winner in each of the category of judges, our official judges who are representatives of the VC companies, VC funds, and the some of the corporates. And then we'll have our expert board who represent the other side of the venture industry experts. And then we'll have the business angels separate voting. So we'll have the 3 winners in 3 categories, and then the aggregated vote and the ultimate winner of our event. Okay, so 10 more seconds, 9 more seconds. Judges, I'm counting on you. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I can do whatever I want. This is my event, so I'm closing the vote. Hope you all voted. Okay, ta-da! The votes are closed. Okay. Before we go and see how did business angels voted as a category and who they picked as the winner and who are the runners-up, let's talk about the startups. Dear judges, please share your opinion towards the startups, how they pitched, what flaws did you see, or what excited you the most? Just really, really shortly, because like we have 20 minutes of the event left and we want to talk about every startup. So let's start one by one. Equatorial Space was the first one. Who would like to speak up on this startup and give a little feedback on Equatorial Space? Yes, Mariette. Thank you. You're muted, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. You can always count on me to give feedback, but if you want to give other people a chance, don't call me, it's fine. I really like all the companies. First of all, I think everyone did an amazing job. For this one, the feedback, I would say, just as someone who's watched a lot of pitches, I wouldn't start with discussing the fact that it's a monopoly or bringing that up. I think it's important to really have like some kind of a hook and talk about what the impact might be. I also thought that it was a little bit all over the place in terms of the rocket fuel and launch service and doing rockets. So it wasn't that clear to me where the focus was. And I wanted to hear more about sort of what your business model would be and how you were going to focus. So that would be my recommendation. It's just a little confusing.
Thank you, Mariette. Jordan, yes.
Similar to Mariette, I think the pitch person didn't understand the audience. There was a lot of lecturing on what this is about, and we didn't need that. And I struggled to understand what the final solution to the last 20 seconds, and that kind of didn't work for me.
Got you. Vic?
I like all the presentations, and I know being a founder, it's not easy to get it all right. But I did like the passion that Aquai and Aerospace, the speaker had in the way they were delivering what their solution really does. There may be some things around their business that they could find. It looks like they could help with the channel, but they're selling some very complex product in a very big market. I liked Open Refactory. I think they went a little too deep in the tech, but their TAM is probably bigger than they expect because cybersecurity market is all dependent on finding bugs. And for every 1,000 line of code, we add 1 bug. That's generally, so I think they can really go big if they really figure out what the target market is and who it's really selling to.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. Len, nice to see you. Yes. Yes, please speak up. Please unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for pitching today and for spending the time sharing your business ideas for all of us here. I think one of my comments in general across the board is I would have liked to hear more about all of your competitors. This is all AI in general is a really hot space right now to invest in, and we see tons of pitches related to AI companies these days. So I would have liked to hear more about every competitor for each company and how you're stacking up against them. For several of the companies, I think it's a hard pitch to VCs because they're very high on capital expenditure costs and hardware manufacturing costs. So I think one of the other VCs had mentioned some of these are not necessarily, don't fit that criteria for VC trajectory growth. But I really appreciated learning about the technologies that you are all working on.
Thank you, Lan, a lot. Gary, hello, nice to see you.
Hello, Anna. It's good to see you. Great to be here and see some friendly faces. So, you know, I just am so impressed every time that we have these events. And, you know, the one thing I want to say to each one of the startups is that 90% of building a unicorn is the storytelling. And so remember your origin story, make sure that you incorporate that in. Make sure that one of the things, as my friend Guy Kawasaki says, you're enchanting the audience. I like the idea of unstructured infobesity and solving the problem. I like the idea of being able to use robotic fish because we got to double the food supply on the planet Earth by 2050, and we can't increase the number of cattle. So being able to increase the number of fish and have quality food supply is really important for us. I like the idea of being able to go down through and to identify pedestrians so you don't hit them. 7,000, as was said, that's a big number, but where else can all these things be applied? So take it out, make it more exciting and exuberant, and use the storytelling to be able to get you to the next level. The venture capitalists, the angels, the family offices want to be enchanted.
Thank you, Gary. It's really valuable. Yes, we are talking about all startups now. Mariette, you were the next. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I would have to slightly disagree with Gary. I do agree that it's very important to do storytelling when you're doing the pitch, but I think there's so many other factors that determine whether a company is going to be a unicorn, and I don't know if that's the most important one, but I think definitely during the pitch. And I think a few of the companies did not do the best job in terms of starting with what the problem was. I'm trying to remember which one it was. In particular, maybe it was Emergen, which I liked a lot. I thought that was a great company. But I think that I didn't really get a sense of what the problem was initially that you were trying to solve. And I think you want to start with a hook, not just what you do. Don't just talk about, here's the features, this is what I do, but what impact. And as you did say it later, you talked about, I thought it was very effective when you gave a particular case about $100 million in savings. That's very powerful. So I think if you want to start with that, like what are you actually doing? What impact are you actually having? That would be a lot more effective. But I thought it was extremely compelling that you have a partnership with Snowflake and some of these others. And I think being able to get 4 or 5% of that is very significant. So I thought it was a great pitch. I would start it off a little bit differently. I would say for open refractory, the question I had for you was, how are you going to build a defensible moat? You talked about being first to market, and I believe you, but how are you going to stay there? How are you going to stay ahead? I also wasn't that clear on how you're going to do marketing or what your customer acquisition costs were during your pitch. For Wade and Owl AI, you also did the same thing. I thought your company sounds incredible. When you started your pitch, you said, this is what we do. We're a semiconductor company. Again, there was no hook. Usually people make a decision within just a few seconds of whether they want to really engage and listen to you. And you need to start with, what is the problem? What are you trying to solve it? And why are we trying to, why is there a need to solve this problem? And I think further, you got into a little bit more about the focus and the trying to decide between you're going to go after the automatic braking or drones. And I understand that there's opportunistic reasons to tackle both, but as an investor, I want to see focus in a startup because it's very expensive what you're doing. It does have a high capital cost. I think for Lene and Akwai, I listened to your pitch. I thought it was great. Very exciting company. You're solving one of the biggest issues I think we have with polluted oceans. So I think I, as an investor, want to be hit with that as well. And then I really want to understand, again, this market approach problem. You've got 6 target markets that you discuss. So how are you going to dominate aquaculture, for example? You did eventually say that there was no other competition in that space, and that was good. All right, I'll give the floor to someone else.
Thank you, Mariette, so much. Todd, yes, I saw you raise the hand.
Great, thank you. Great presentations all today, but I just have some general feedback. It's sort of ping-ponging off a lot of today. I like to ask 3 questions when I present. 1, why? And what is the pants on fire that happens? I want to be lured in right away. Why now? Why does somebody want to pay for this now? And ultimately, why me? Or why you? And a lot of the presentations today beat around all those 3 questions, but I didn't walk away with everyone saying, wow, this is amazing. This is a big problem. And that's the guys to solve it. It's about your positioning, your IP, your customers, your strategy, why you're raising funds. And for those who are revenue generating, ask yourselves a question. Why do I want to go through the pain of raising money? Why can't I just go sell? But at the end of the day, why now, and why me? Those are the key questions that you've got to ask, because that's going to lure me in the first 20 seconds. The rest is me just remembering that's why I want to listen all the way through.
Great, thank you. Really valuable. Jordan, what do you have to add?
I don't have any wisdom on what's a better approach or a good approach or a bad approach. I disagree with my good friend Vic. This is not difficult. It cannot be difficult. There's 10,000 presentations every week worldwide. There's 33 some odd investors on this call, probably a couple of hundred other people. So if you did well, good for you. If you didn't do well, it's a missed opportunity. Coming to those events, especially this particular one, is not a trivial engagement. It's not a 3-minute preparation and off you go. You really need to get your shit together. You don't only have one shot to make a first impression. For those who did well, and I loved Owl, good job. For those who didn't do well, I urge you to go to something called the internet and look for how to pitch your stuff in 3 minutes. This cannot be difficult. It needs to be perfect all the time. As an investor and as somebody who works in startups, there's no other alternative. Get it right the first time and always. And good luck to you.
Thank you, Jordan. We have 5 minutes to go. So Jamal and Walid, a really short 30-second speech, please, so I can be able to announce a winner. Jamal, you are first, and Walid will be the second one.
Sure, appreciate it. So this would be super quick. Again, a very generic feedback around how the presentations were laid down. I believe that, again, like there was 3 positionings mentioned, based on our working with investors, what investors really want to know is moat. What's the model? What's the money? What's the market? And who is the management? So 5 M's, they need to be adequately covered. Now, in order to facilitate these startups or any startups, we have crafted a 9-stage problem arc structure that any startup can evolve and adopt based on past historical successful startups. So if anyone wants to have access to that particular document, I would be happy to share so that they can improve and elevate their pitching.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And Walid?
Yeah, I think we had some interesting ideas today, and average, everybody did well. Again, rule of thumb in terms of short time presentation, less than 5 minutes. It's like what we would like to see, or the format that we would like to hear as investors, it's always problem, solution, why, and the business model, how you make money. And I illustrate on Todd, comment. But again, the structure, problem, how impactful it is, solution, competitive advantage, barrier to entry, wherever, and then why, and then the business model, how you make money. Good luck to everybody. I think everybody here is a winner today, and looking forward to see the results.
Yes, I do too. Though I saw the numbers, but still aggregated results. Here we go. Business Angels picked the winner. All AI, Equatorial Space, and Aqua AI are runners-up. Expert Board thought a little bit differently, you see. And official judges did this way. Are you keeping track? And overall score is as following. Ta-da! Yes, and I congratulate the winner. Congrats, all alike. Wayne, it's your moment of glory. Speak up.
Well, first of all, thank you. And by the way, I really appreciated all the feedback. You're totally right on the feedback. You know, you try to get in and you get that hook right to start. And it's really hard to do. And you're right. I think it was Mariette that said, you know, you start off as a semiconductor company. Why don't you start with the business problem and show that video? And it's tough. Because you need to position that what type of company you are right from the get-go so people don't think you're something else. And I've struggled with this over the years. So the feedback in general was really good. I really appreciate the comments to keep things brief. And I will do that now and shut up. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We enjoyed your pitch. You're the winner. We really congratulate you. Thank you, all the judges. Any feedback, welcome. Our next event is Women in VC. Remember, if you have great women founders, please refer them to us because we need to see them and the world needs to see them. And you see, we have like a huge audience and everybody is welcome to join for the next event. Yes, I'm listening. Any feedbacks toward us? Yes, Maxime.
Yeah, so thank you very much for joining Network Silicon Valley Club. And you are welcome to recommend our club to your colleagues, promising companies. We are always about networking and uniting the most talented people here. So feel free to write our team and me via LinkedIn. Yeah, happy to see you all.
Yes, and see you.
Thanks, Maxine.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Thanks.
Very much, everyone. Bye. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Have a good
you,
one.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you next time.
See you.
Thank you.